Hi everyone and welcome to Rob Evans 365. This is day number 427 and the focus of today is going to be about when is enough enough? When are you going to have the courage to stand up to yourself and say, I've had enough, I'm going to make a difference. I'm not going to put up with the way that I'm living anymore. I'm not going to put up with this level of health. I'm not going to put up with the decisions that I'm making, the excuses that I'm making continuously to put off having the absolute optimal health that I can have. When are you going to do that? Now, what has prompted me for today is some tragedy that I heard on the news yesterday, and I'm just going to talk about it briefly. I'm not going to mention the person's name, but if you don't want to hear this part, maybe just forward the next couple of minutes that I'm talking about this, so you can do that now. All right, so there was a tragedy in Sydney CBD yesterday, and it involved a young man with a mental illness that at some point right in the middle of the city has pulled out a kitchen knife and has, I won't say how, but I don't need to glorify the crime or give the guy any airtime, but he killed one lady and then injured at least one other. I'm not sure whether there are others involved or not. And it just so happened that there was TV cameras nearby, and they followed this guy, and you can see some of his antics and stuff, and clearly he's not right. But the reason I'm saying, when are you standing up for yourself? I think people see this type of behaviour now, and there has been a number of issues that have happened in CBDs of Melbourne and Sydney where I guess they have been what they call acts of terrorism or whatever you want to call it, people with a message. This guy was, I think, shouting in Egyptian or Arabic or something like that. These rants that didn't really make any sense. And I think when it's got to the stage now where, to some extent, if this happens in other countries, we're almost, desensitized to this type of stuff. And we just say, oh, there's another one. But what happened yesterday was that you had ordinary citizens see this person and running through the street and creating mayhem. And people from the general public tackled this guy with chairs, milk crates, and held him down until the police got there and they took this guy away. And to me, that was a sign of people have had enough, and they're not going to put up with this rubbish anymore and do whatever it takes to stop people like that causing more destruction. And what that takes is courage, a lot of courage, and kind of that split-second courage as to what am I going to do? Am I going to run the other way, or am I going to step up and step in here and take down this individual so that he cannot cause any further mayhem? Because we know what happens in the US, and I guess we are lucky that we have the gun laws that we do, so that there's not that ready access to these weapons that they have in the US, and people doing these unspeakable crimes with multiple people. This guy had a knife, so he had to physically get close to people to cause that damage. And the members of the general public stepped up, took this guy down, disarmed him, and waited for the police. And I say, well, good on them for stepping up and doing that. And it does require bravery and thinking that I'm doing this for the greater good and putting myself at risk here. Now, that's an example of what you can do for other people, but how often are we not doing this for ourselves? Like, it takes a lot of courage to say, do you know what? I'm not going to live in this space anymore. I'm going to take charge of my health, and I'm going to live life on my level, my terms, and I'm going to go somewhere where perhaps I have never gone before. And that can be scary because you haven't seen it before. You don't know what it's going to look like. You don't know how you're going to be treated. You may have to buy a new wardrobe. You could lose friends. You could be criticised on social media. You could be criticised by people that you thought were friends. And you are going to face adversity. You're going to face potentially haters who don't like what it is that you're doing. But that becomes about them and not about you. It's just that they want to make it about you. And if you've always looked a certain way, let's just say that for 30 years of your life, you've looked the same sort of way. You've always been overweight. People have known you by the way that you are. People are used to you the way that you are. What does that mean for you now that you change completely your physical being? I tell you what it means for a lot of people that don't support you, and that is they think you've changed inside. Now, to some extent, I guess you've changed your mindset because you've decided that I'm not going to do this anymore, but you're still the same person. It's just that you look different, and perhaps you've reprogrammed part of you to be more proactive, to take better care of yourself, and decide that enough is enough. Because let's face it, the chances are that 2/3 of your friends are overweight or obese and not living where you want to live if you've chosen to live the ultimate health and optimize your health. Most people aren't doing it. So chances are there is going to be 2/3, because that's the statistics of overweight and obesity in Australia. There's a chance that 2/3 of your friends are also like that. Now, where it also takes courage is the courage to change that and start associating with those people that you want to be like. And I'll give you an example in a moment of what I'm doing. But I don't underestimate how difficult it is to make change, because I've had to do it in my life, and I know what it means to people. It's kind of like you're comfortable where you are, but you don't like it. You want a different outcome, but you don't want to change that much that you're going to have to change. And that scares people. And what I love is JT has this coin that, obviously a coin is two-sided. So what do? It's kind of like heads or tails. And on one side of the coin it says no excuses, and on the other side of the coin it says no fear. Now, isn't that so true? Because for a lot of people it's like, well, let's toss a coin, and it's either, well, I will do it or I won't do it, or I'll do X or I'll do Y. A coin like this, when you toss it, it says, well, do you know what? I've either going to have no fear or I'm going to have no excuses, and I'm going to do it anyway. Because if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Or in your case, it's up to you. It's up to you to make the change. No one else will do that for you, and you have to decide. So what you do have to decide is that you've had enough. You've had enough of feeling that the way that you are. You've had enough of letting things pass you by. Letting adversity hit you in the face, and you accept that. It's kind of like the equivalent if you see something like happened yesterday, and you run towards it to finish it, to tackle it to the ground, to disarm it from all the harm that has been causing you before, and you change. You stop that destructive behaviour and you change forever. And that's really powerful. And that takes a lot of courage. But it's time for you to stand up for yourself and say, I'm not going to live like this anymore. And for you, that could be a variety of things. It could be the fact that, well, you're overweight or obese. It could be that you're living an unhealthy lifestyle. You just want more energy in your life. It could be, whatever it is for you. I don't know what that is, but you will. And you've got to decide that I deserve a better life, and I'm going to give it to myself. Now, you do that by following what it is that I'm saying every day, and you will get the life that you want. It's not easy, but if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, but they're not. Clearly, you can see that. So let me tell you about what I'm doing. For many years, I have known that if I want to live in a different space, if I want to take my life to another level with my business, my body, etc., then I need to surround myself with people that are doing that. They're either, I want to be where they are. They've done it, or they're doing it. They're on the same path. But it's reaching out to those people that are living life on a greater level than I am, because that's what I aspire. I want to do better and better and better. And the only way that I can do it is by working really hard. But when you surround yourself with people that have done it, then what do you think that does? It brings you up. It's like if you play tennis against Roger Federer, do you think you're going to get better? Well, of course you will. He may keep beating you, but then there will come a day where perhaps you beat him, because you're learning from everything that you're learning from his game to make your game better. You keep playing at club level, you won't get any better. You move up to a higher level of tennis, and your tennis will get better, because you'll see how these people are training and how they're living and the hours that they're putting in. And you will say, well, actually, do you know what? I thought I was working hard before, but I don't know what hard work is, because these guys are phenomenal. Their work ethic is phenomenal. And if I want to be like that, I need to do what they're doing. And that's your fastest way to success. Get coaching by somebody that has done what you want to achieve. So what I've done is, I've known this for many years. The hard part is, how do you achieve that? Well, it takes time, I think, because you've just got to keep surrounding yourself with the right people to take you to that spot. And before you know it, things start to happen, and one thing leads to another. JT says that you're one decision, one contract, one customer away from making it. And that's the same with your health, your fitness, those other things that you want to achieve in life. So what I've done is, I'll tell you one of the things that I did. I used to be involved with a networking group called BNI, Business Networking International. Fantastic group of people. I was in it for 7 years. But it got to the stage where I was no longer getting referrals, despite me putting in 10 hours a week into the organisation and helping the chapter grow and all that kind of stuff. But the referrals just weren't coming. So I think people were finding that, well, it doesn't matter whether we give Rob a referral or not. He's still going to keep putting in, the chapter will keep growing, and I'll keep getting referrals. But it got to the point where I said, you know what? With the way that I want my business to go, and that is moving it to a global scale and helping thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, there's not one person in this room that can help me achieve that. And when I told some of my closer friends in the chapter that, they actually got quite offended, because they felt that I wasn't being fair to them. But I said, look, here's what I see. I see that, I'm not getting referrals, and there's not one person in the chapter that is global. There's not one person in this chapter that really grasps what I'm trying to do. They kind of understand it, but they don't know how to do it. So how is keeping on networking with that group of people going to help me achieve that? So I made the decision to leave the group. And when I look at the time since I've left that group, what I said was, well, I'm going to take that time that I was using and use it for something else that's marketing, but just use it in a different way. So what have I done? So I've joined the JT Fox organisation, got the right coaching. I left my other coaches, which were Tony Robbins coaches. I left those because I felt that they weren't taking me where I wanted to either, and it was costing me a lot of money. So I thought I can invest that money elsewhere. And since going to JT, what I've done is been able to grow my business, get my mindset 100% focused, take a heap of action, get the celebrity branding and all that kind of stuff through his organisation, and I keep going to his events, getting closer and closer to JT. JT's looking at the stuff that I'm posting. He's making comments about that. I mean, we're just having a conversation yesterday via text about something, and I'm just getting closer and closer to them. I'm getting closer with the coaches. I'm spending more time with them. And what does that mean? It opens up more opportunities. Now, the more I network with them, the more confidence I get with networking with other people, knowing how to be talking to these high-profile people as well to take things to another level. And it's using that approach that I have used to connect with Kerry Pothast. The more that I deal with Kerry gives me an opportunity to network with even more people at her level. So I'm going up to, I've told you this before, but going up to network with another gold medalist or two in the next it's a month away actually, I think. And you just never know where those meetings and opportunities can lead to other opportunities. And since I've started doing that, then I'm also mixing with people that are way more successful than me. So what does that do? That enables us to have different discussions, a higher level of discussion, and forming friendships and bonds and connections and businesses together, and we're all growing together. And yes, these people that are better than me, I mean, I can't bring anything to JT at this point, apart from maybe some powerful relationships with others. And the same with some of his coaches that are way more successful than I am. But it's about just getting conversations happening to bring me up to another level. So I'm starting to stand in a room where I'm the least successful. And that is really exciting. You might say, well, why would you want to do that? I want to stand in a room where I'm the winner and the leader. Well, you're not going to grow from that. You're going to help others grow, but you're not going to grow. So I've been looking for those opportunities and making those opportunities for where I want to get better. And that's what's really exciting. And this is what you need to do as well. If you want to get better, the only way you can do that is get coaching from somebody that's better than you, somebody who's achieved exactly the results that you want to achieve, and then start putting yourself in the room where you're not the best person in the room, in the area that you want, whether it's your health, your fitness, whatever. Maybe that means, I know I've spoken about this recently, but maybe that means dumping some of your friends, getting rid of those negative people. Surround yourself with those people that are super, super achieving in the areas that you want. And I was just watching some of the CrossFit games because they happened just recently. I was watching a different event. And what is great about CrossFit is the community of CrossFit. Now, whether you like the sport or not, forget that for a moment, but the community that they have is great. And to see the athletes cheer each other on once they're finished and stuff and bring up the other competitors, then that is fantastic. Now, do you think you're going to get better if you're performing, working out with these athletes that are what they consider the fittest on the planet? I would disagree with that. It's a different type of fitness, but I think the Tour de France riders are the fittest ones on the planet. But if you're training with the world's best in these areas, then of course you're going to get better. And they're going to inspire you to do better. And to me, that's what makes life exciting, because it is the unknown. It's stepping way out of your comfort zone. It's like I'm 51 and I'm forming some of the best, friendships and relationships of my life now. Why am I only doing it now? Because I'm only learning the skills now, damn it. And I wish I had these skills when I was my kid's age. And you kept developing them. And here's a good example of stepping out of your comfort zone. So Emily, she had to attend a maths competition today, representing the school with some others, because she's quite good at maths. Now, she's not the best at maths in her class, but she is really good at maths. And she didn't want to go. And why didn't she want to go? Well, because she didn't know anyone else there. And I said, Emily, this is... Jeez. I just got... So I'm recording this sitting in the car, and I just looked out. So I'm waiting to pick up the kids, and I just looked out the window, and there's Olivia just standing there, scared the daylights out of me. Anyway, I said, "Hi, Liv.
Hello.
I'm just finishing the podcast here." So I said to Emily that this is a really great opportunity for you. One, because you get to represent the school. I said also because you get to test your problem-solving ability. It doesn't matter whether you don't get them all right, but it's about testing your problem-solving ability. But I said also you don't want to go because you don't know anyone. And I said this is great if you can push yourself out of your comfort level and be forced into a situation where you have to talk to others that you don't really know, maybe don't even like, but most likely you don't even know. And next time you're in that situation, it will become easier. And it is pushing outside your comfort zone. That's what I said to her. But I said, I didn't start doing this for another probably 20, 25, 30 years. Older than she is. And I said, if you start doing it now, trust me, your life will thrive. You will do much, much better than I've ever done if you harness this now and you get into that habit of stepping out of your comfort zone and doing things that really challenge you. So that's my challenge for you today. So you might need to re-listen to this. Listen to the key points again. Have a great day wherever you are. No more excuses for yourself. Step up and have courage for yourself. Stop the fear. Just like those people today stopped that dude in Sydney or yesterday. All right, see you tomorrow.